He'll be trailblazing out of Detroit, Michigan at SummerSlam with everybody saying L.A. Knight. Yeah, let me talk to ya. Welcome to the Amped Up Podcast for 7/15/23 featuring the Smackdown Amplified review for 7/14/23. WWE actually listened to the fans and laid out a possible path for L.A. Knight to rock SummerSlam and walk out with gold. Asuka completely overshadowed by Belair and Flair. Jason Uso drops Paul Heyman and battles Solo. And the wrestling world is shocked that Shotzi shaved her head. But BC is more stunned that Bobby Lashley returned, and if you blinked, you most likely missed it. Straight podcast mode, in audio format only, it's the Amped Up Podcast featuring WWE Smackdown. So put up them bicep flex, rock them coffees, and let's get amplified. Team, to the gold status channel members, to my entire amplified unit, hopefully you guys are rocking out this weekend thus far. This WWE Smackdown 7/14/23 show, as of today, just 3 weeks away from SummerSlam, kicked off with Bianca Belair and Charlie Flair going back and forth, middle of the ring, making a SummerSlam pact to face each other for the title. There's just one issue, of course. They don't have the title. That's how highly they think of themselves, and they fully believe that one of them will be champion beforehand. And that's great, but this segment accomplished nothing but straight looking past Asuka. They didn't even try to hide the fact. In fact, Asuka is an afterthought in this very moment. She's backstage watching on a monitor, not even a part of this process, as these two other ladies talk about who's going to walk out of SummerSlam with the title. Meanwhile, the champion is 6 steps away from catering. So Asuka in this segment, it's one of those segments where there's more negative to come out of it than positive. I don't think anything was done for Belair and Flair. No excitement was built to see Belair and Flair for the majority of us. Instead, we saw just how damaging it is to Asuka. Watching on from a monitor just felt completely like an afterthought. And if that sounds familiar, especially attached to Asuka, it's because this is how they always book Asuka. With a title or without a title, she's always playing the third wheel, the third fiddle, to try to give somebody else the rub or to try to get another feud over while she's the actual champion. It's happened for Asuka's entire main roster career. We were hoping there'd be a little bit of a change with this title reign, but all you got to do is pretty much look at how she won it, right? She should have won it at WrestleMania to give her that prestigious moment and make everybody see that this is going to be a legit title reign. Won it at WrestleMania. That's pretty much as big as you can get. But instead, they had her lose. And then a month later, on a Saturday afternoon, on a C-level premium live event, they had Asuka win the championship. And now it looks like Charlie Flair will get her 15th title reign at SummerSlam. I believe that's 15, right? Is she at 14 now? I don't know, 15. It doesn't. Listen, by the end of the year, or by WrestleMania, Philadelphia WrestleMania, I assure you, Flair will be capturing her 16th title and tying her father, if not beating her father. It's just going to happen, guys. So be preconditioned to such. Asuka right now, she's a filler champion, and that's sad to say because she's always been a filler to this company. That's the problem. That's my issue with this opening segment. More negative than positive, and it really didn't do anything for that title or a match that we'd be anticipating in 3 weeks at SummerSlam. Felt there was 1,006 ways we could have started this show a little better, and 1,007 ways we could have made Asuka look better. First matchup of the night was Pretty Deadly, defeating Sheamus and Holland. That's the notes. That's all I have. I could not care less about this tag division at this moment in time. And that's sad because they actually have tag teams that should be relevant right now. From the Street Profits to the Viking Raiders to Alpha Academy to even Pretty Deadly. And if you really wanted us to look at Sheamus and Holland as a real tag team, you could even throw them in the mix. And so many others. We don't even think about the Usos because they're involved in this major storyline, but the Usos still heavily, obviously, a tag team. And then you have the New Day when they come back fully from injury. There's a lot of good tag teams, but you can't tell me that this tag division is getting you excited, that this tag division is captivating you, and that's the sad part. There's no thought put into this. They just throw out Pretty Deadly, Sheamus, and Holland. Well, from BC's viewpoint, you can't really have either one of these teams lose, man. Sheamus is racking up a lot of L's, or just seems so irrelevant lately. Pretty Deadly's brand new. You pretty much can't have them topped yet. It's just an odd match. They let him wrestle. That was good. That's Paul Levesque McMahon's little thing. You know, go out there. We're going to give you wrestling time. That's good. But when it was all said and done, Pretty Deadly just defeats Sheamus and Holland, and there's nothing to discuss. There's nothing that we would need to see further between these two teams. And I can't say that I'm any more excited to see Pretty Deadly in the future or Sheamus and Holland. So again, what does this accomplish would be BC's question. And the answer is pretty rhetorical because it's a redundant answer. Nothing. Up next, Bayley defeats Zelina Vega. It's via pinfall after delivering the Rose Plant finisher. Post-match, Shotzi shows up on the Tron and cuts a pretty damn great pre-tape. Who knows, she's in a basement or something. There's little like scorpions or roaches or something around her. And she's trying to come across to Bayley and Io that she's not scared of them, not at all. Like literally, she's just as if not more crazy. So you are not scaring her at all. You just look like an idiot. So Shotzi is on the Tron and she's shouting, "Do I look scared? Do I?" She screams it. It was pretty damn good, man. And then Shotzi has these clippers and she buzzes her head, man. She shaves her entire head bald. Io is looking at Bayley like, what the fuck did you do to get me into this shit with Shotzi? I'm trying to cash this briefcase, man. This is your thing, Bayley. Take care of this, will you? Shotzi, man. Too funny. Now, the wrestling world absolutely just went haywire when this happened. The wrestling world is like, why? You didn't need to do that. You were so beautiful and this and that, and it's not needed for a storyline. You just come across a lot of just stupid shit. So my thing on this would be, that's the least of what I'd be shocked about on this show. Shotzi shaving her head. We've seen this before. Who was it? Serena Deeb? When she was in, she was with Punk in WWE. Didn't she just shave her head? Something Straight Edge Society, I believe it was. And we've seen it so many times. Maybe she just wanted to shave her head, right? Went to Paul Levesque McMahon and said, listen, I would really, it's summertime, right? BC shaves his head every summer. Shave your damn head. It's hot out, man. Maybe she just wanted to shave her head and said, hey, if you want to incorporate this in a storyline, and at least they didn't do the stupid thing where you have a hair versus hair match, and then after the match, we got to watch somebody in the middle of the ring for the full 6 minutes shave their head. No, this is up on the Tron, a pre-tape. We just see a few seconds of her shaving her head. No harm, no foul. Okay, is she a beautiful girl with the hair? Of course. But this is professional wrestling, man. You shouldn't be worried about just the beauty. Let's see where this goes with Shotzi's character. And I just don't understand why the wrestling world is that upset when moments later you see Bobby Lashley ride up in a limousine. The Street Profits get into the limousine. and they drive off. That was Bobby Lashley's return. He hasn't been seen in a while. You were hoping, like we hoped for Drew McIntyre, that when he comes back, they have something special planned for them. They did not have something planned for them, anything special anyway. Street Profits get into the limousine, Bobby smiles, and they drive off. They're going to a party. That's... now you say, well, BC, man, something's up with that, though. There must be more to the story. Let's find out. Well, no question, right? We're going to find out, but, man, we really hope that this is going to be good. Because if this leads to basically nothing, that's not how you bring back Bob Lashley, man. Come on. He just gets out of a limousine, picks up the street, like he's their Uber. I mean, Street Profits are in the parking lot like he should have been here by now. Where is this damn Uber driver? He's getting 2 stars. Right? Montez is like 2. He's getting 1. He's 20 minutes late. And it's Bob Lashley. Imagine Bobby Lashley's your Uber driver. How funny would that be? But everybody's flipping out about Shotzi shaving her head. I'm thinking more, why did Bobby Lashley just return in a 10-second segment? So again, we're hoping they have something planned. With this company, you never know, and you can't give them the benefit of the doubt. But we are indeed hoping for such. So we'll see what this shaved head status goes with Shotzi. If it was the right call, does it help this character development? Is it going to help this story with Bayley? And on top of that, we'll see what happens with Bobby Lashley. This whole weird limousine segment backstage with the Street Profits. Up next, Jason Uso. Crowd was whatting Jason Uso a lot in his emotional promo. A lot of whats, and he's really trying to tell a heartfelt story. But unlike Charlie Flair 2 months ago, you guys remember she was trying to speak from the heart? And this was just a few weeks after she came back. And they were like, nah, we ain't feeling it. The Charlie Flair, literally stopped the promo and said, are you guys whatting me? And they're like, yeah. She's like, can you guys please stop? I'm trying to say something serious. And before you know, by the end of the promo, she was being booed out of the ring. Jason Uso, man, he was good in this. He did not address the what's at all. You don't... See, that was brilliant. You don't give any time of day. You do not give attention to those that are not deserving of it. Always, that's something I learned a long time ago. Absolutely not. Focus on the positive. Focus on your people. And that's what Uso did here, man. He completely talked right over him, and then he got fired up. He got amplified to the crowd. And on their own, the crowd just shut the fuck up. And they let the man speak because he was just showing that he's going to dominate that microphone. The whats are not going to stop him. In fact, they're going to subside because he's just going to get amplified. And that's what he did, man. He started speaking even louder. He started speaking more from the heart. And before you know it, the crowd was in the palm of his hands. It was beautiful. He's interrupted by Paul Heyman and Solo Sikoa, obviously. There was no Roman Reigns. And Jimmy is out on this injury, so Heyman and Solo had to carry this story with Jay. Heyman says his entire family will never forgive him for what happened to James Uso, because it was his fault that James Uso is out. So at this point, Solo asks for the mic. Now, Paul Heyman is like, damn, he doesn't really talk. He grabs the mic. Paul hands it over to Solo. Solo gets right into the face of Jason Uso. And he says, I also will never forgive you for what you did to James Uso. You know, that's his brother as well. So he declares that he's never going to forgive him. Now, at this point, you know, it's like brother, like sibling rivalry, sibling love, which can also lead to, you know, throwing some fists when you're growing up. If you guys got brothers, you know how it is. I got a couple, and we rocked out basically every day, smashing each other in the mug, fist right into the nose, bruises, blood, you name it. We'd be bashing each other out, ma screaming, stop! We'd be like, after I whoop his ass, ma. You know, that's brotherly love. So Jason Uso didn't even bother saying any more words. He just started hauling off on Solo Sikoa. They just started throwing bows. Solo is sent to the outside. Now, Uso has a prime opportunity at this point to drop Heyman where he stands like a stack of bricks. But Uso, he takes 87 years to make the move. He's playing to the crowd. He gets in a weird squat position. He's laughing. He's like, oh, I got you. But if you wait 87 years, of course, Brother Uso, Solo, well, he's going to come back from the great yonder. And that's what happened. After 87 years, Solo's like, oh, I'm awake from the dead. Let's go rock. And Solo takes out Jey Uso before he can drop Paul Heyman. I was just like, what do you just? It's like Money in the Bank, when they slowly crawl up the ladder. Now, even if you're exhausted, it's 25 minutes into the match, which barely Money in the Bank goes 25 minutes, by the way. But let's just say the scenario is 25 minutes into the match, everybody's exhausted, and you can barely climb the ladder, right? It's so hokey, man. It does not come off as realistic. It's like they forgot how to climb a ladder. They're gingerly going up. They finally get to the top, and they swat at the briefcase for like 2 minutes, it seems, right? Not understanding you have to go up one more ring because you're not tall enough. So then they finally realize, oh, maybe I go up one more. And before you know it, it's literally 87 years later, and everybody else is at the top of the ladder with you. So this was just so weird. Just get Paul Heyman. He's right there. Solo's on the outside, but he waits. Okay. So Solo gets back in, drops Jason Uso. They tussle a little bit more. Jey Uso actually gets the upper hand again. He's able to super kick. Who did he super? I think he super kicked Heyman, the Heyman off of Paul's dome piece is what he did. He super kicked Paul Heyman, I believe, flat. Dropped the Walrus, center of the ring. He's flaring like a turtle that got flipped upside down on his back. Or flipped over on his back. It was totally funny. If you ever see Paul Heyman take a bump, afterwards he just frails like a turtle flipped over. It's great, man. Or I guess you would say the walrus flipped over. Paul Heyman was absolutely great, man. But he gets super kicked. There was a couple of chair shots sent to Solo. And those chair shots actually sent Solo into retreat mode. So that's actually how the segment ended. So that's one of those things where it was good for what it was. They did this last week over the course of 3 segments in a row, 45 minutes to start the show last week, and I love that, by the way. Give me more story over the wrestling for the television shows. Give us a reason, storyline-wise, and just a reason to care, to pay money to see the pay-per-view or premium live event, right? The shows should set up those storylines. If you want to take 45 minutes to tell the story, awesome. Just make it interesting. Last week, the Bloodline story was interesting enough. Would I have done more? A lot more. Could it have been better? A lot better. But it was good for what it was. Problem what they do is they do a lot of filler within the segment. And what I mean by that is a lot of weird, nonsensical, topsy-turvy battling, right? Where, like last week, Roman's in control, then all of a sudden, Jay's in control. Then Solo is the prime focal point, takes everybody out. And then all of a sudden, Jimmy gets the upper hand, or Jay, I should say. Then Roman grabs the upper hand. And they did that for like 10 minutes last week. It was almost like a little match within the 3 segments to tell the story. And this week, same thing. Once the talk stopped, it was a lot of back and forth upper handmanship. How's that? Upper handsmanship. There you go. Jey Uso's got the upper hand. Then all of a sudden Solo's got the upper hand. Then Jay's back. Paul's on his back. Solo's in retreat mode. Solo's coming back. It's just it gets a little confusing at that rate. But other than that, without Roman Reigns, this was good, man. Jey Uso continues to deliver. That does not mean he should be walking out of Detroit, Michigan SummerSlam with a championship. Everybody needs to relax. Now there's even people going, okay, not Jey, but Solo has to win it. Guys, you're putting this guy in such a horrible position. He got skyrocketed from NXT. He was nowhere near ready. That's why the position he's in is actually the best he can be in. Limited wrestling action. He's learning with the best, but he's mostly just the muscle in the group. You guys want to throw a championship on him. over Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, or Sami Zayn in Montreal, or even Jay at SummerSlam. Solo's gotta be it, because Solo's the muscle of the group. Oof. I don't know. It's a fine opinion. I'm definitely not on board with it. If done correctly and we're closer to WrestleMania 40, can I be on board with it? I will leave the door open for it. I will say yes. I can be on board with it. Deal? I can join you guys on the Solo Sikoa Express if they continue to do this right. You're talking about a long time, though. Solo should not be taking that title anytime this year, for sure. I think we all can agree with that, which means Roman is keeping that sumbitch right into next year anyway. They want him to beat Hulk Hogan's record. Well, if that's the case, he's got to go past WrestleMania next year. Either way, you're going to see Solo and Roman eventually. It's all about, does Solo really get the title? Do they really put the final screw job with Cody Rhodes in place? Because everybody said, oh no, Cody, they'll cross paths in the future. Cody will win the championship from Roman, BC. Well, not so fast. You're giving this company a lot of credit right now. I can't even guarantee that Cody is going to cross paths with Roman Reigns for that championship in the near future. I can't even tell you that that's going to happen. It's something that maybe they said, yeah, in the future we'll rock that out. We'll run it back. But things change so quickly in this company. I mean, just look at LA Knight and how fast he got white hot, lightning hot. You know, that can change things. If that keeps gaining momentum and this guy takes over the company, you got to call audibles, obviously. And then I can't believe I'm saying this, but, and I'm not just saying this because I'm an LA Knight supporter, but you got to start talking LA Knight. Does he take the title from Roman? I'm not saying now, guys, if his momentum continues to build. You got to remember when Stone Cold won that King of the Ring and started his ascent to the top, he first got the IC title from Owen Hart. You know, he didn't just go to the world title. I mean, you got to start thinking, does LA Knight do it? You know, it's see, this is what happens when everybody said it was the right call. Cody will get it in the future after he overcomes struggle and adversity, BC. Well, this is what I told you guys. Here we are just a few months later, and everybody else is already talking about a bunch of other names that need to win the title. There's people saying Jason Uso has to win it at SummerSlam in 3 weeks. There's people that say no, Solo Sikoa has to win it. There's people that say no, LA Knight right now is catching the lightning in a bottle, build him up even more, and then have LA Knight take it. Guys, there's so many. There's so many, and then you forget about the Sami Zayns and the Cody Rhodeses. They just got overshadowed with the quickness. So it's a little bit of a dilemma when you don't make the right call from the jump, and at WrestleMania it was obviously a botched call. Because if you look at Jason Uso and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, they don't need the title. And I've said this a million times like a broken record. I'll say another time real quick, but everything that Roman has done since Mania calls for him not to even have the title. He went on vacation for 2 months. He came back, had 2 tag team matches, and now he's having a Bloodline implosion storyline. And what are they fighting for, guys? Remember last week when Roman was there? What were they fighting over? It was that tribal lei, that red tribal lei. It wasn't the title. In fact, Roman threw the title to the side. They're fighting over who's the real leader of that family, the real tribal chief, or who should be, or who do they feel that they're not comfortable with this person leading the family. That's what Jay is basically saying to Roman. It's almost like Jay doesn't even want to be necessarily, but he knows that Roman cannot be or should not be. So this is very, it's one of those situations where nothing that Roman has done called for or needed him to have that championship. Because that red tribal lei is more significant right now in this feud. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Jey Uso, Paul Heyman, and Solo Sikoa. Good segment. Tell that story. Probably, aside from LA Knight, probably the most captivating part of the night. I don't know what that's saying in totality, but definitely one of the only highlights of the night. We then went into a fatal 4-way for the number 1 contendership for Theory's U.S. title. Now, the way they're doing this is there's going to be 2 fatal 4-ways. One this week, one next week on the 22nd, and then on the 29th, 1 week, or it'll be the 21st, actually. I'm looking at the review dates. The 21st next week for SmackDown is when you'll get the second Fatal 4-Way. And then in 2 weeks, on the 28th, is when those winners of the 2 Fatal 4-Ways will take on one another. At that point, it'll be 8 days before SummerSlam. So that's what they're doing. Any way to confuse you guys, that's what they want to do. So I don't know if it's dragging this out by having 2 separate Fatal 4-Ways, or is it better just to do it in one night? And by the way, obviously it's audio format only. Out in the world, it's straight podcast form. So I don't have access to computers or anything like that right now. If you guys can find out if this is a tape show next week, because the USA Soccer is in effect. Next Friday, it is preempted off of Fox for USA Soccer, and it's going to be on FS1 is the station. So I don't know if this was a taped show, and maybe they did these matches last night. Maybe they're going to tape it before next, or are they going to go live? I still have to find that information out, so I will do that, man. If it was taped, then I got to find out what they did with LA Knight, man. No, in this company, you can't bet the house that they're going to have LA Knight even go to SummerSlam. But let's concentrate on what we did get last night, this Fatal 4-Way. This was Butch versus AJ Styles versus Santos Escobar versus Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller. Hold on, man. Grayson Waller. Now we like this kid, right? We like this dude. He's got a good future, we hope. I mean, every time WWE shoves that down everybody's throat that this person has a great future, it never really pans out well. Drew McIntyre was deemed the chosen one, and he had to get fired. Totally repackaged himself before he came back. Austin Theory was deemed the chosen one, the next one. And Austin Theory, to this day, gets piped in booze, and nobody cares. And now Grayson Waller is being deemed the next big thing, right? The chosen one. So much potential. Careful. We know that. Let's not jinx it, please. Oh, man. Grayson Waller. His last 2 matches were L's, guys. If you're keeping track, by the way, he's only had 2 matches on the main roster, and they were L's. Edge just beat him last Friday, as a matter of fact. And before that, I think it was like a main event taping. This was a while ago, too, a few months ago, when they were already thinking about bringing him up and then decided against it. But I believe Akira Ninja Tozawa defeated Grayson Waller. It was a main event taping, if I remember correctly. And then again, last week, Edge. And they tried to save face for Grayson and say, when it comes to sink or swim, you swam, kid, is what Edge said. So there was a backstage interview, and they said, Grayson, how do you feel about being in a title picture this quickly? And he's like, well, I may not have a W yet, but I swam last week. And I'm like, how in the world did this? I mean, seriously, basically it was like, how can this dude already be in a title picture? I understand wins and losses don't mean as much to a lot of fans today, sadly. But they have to know that most of the fans are going to realize that this dude has never even won a match on the main roster. And when you do things like this, you're going to diminish the value of said title over time. And that title has already had diminished value for the longest time. Why add salt to the wound here? There's just not a reason for this, man. This is just to showcase Grayson Waller. That's fine. They said the only opportunity to do such is this Fatal 4-Way. That's not fine. It's just not. Brand new, lost his match with Edge last week, and months ago, again, I believe it was Ninja Tozawa that beat him on main event. And what's his prize? He gets to go for a championship. A lot of people are kind of going, oh, how prestigious is that title then? Anyway, moving on here, man. By WWE logic, if you think about who's in this Fatal 4-Way next week, you have 4 faces, basically. If you look at Sheamus as a face, WWE has put 4 faces in the match. So you look at these ones, guys. It's 3 faces and a heel. So this whole 2 Fatal 4, all 8 dudes, you have 7 faces. Am I right? Or like maybe I'm Rey Mysterio, Cameron Grimes, Sheamus, obviously Knight, Butch, Styles, Escobar. Those are all faces. And then you just have Grayson Waller. Again, now you can have an asterisk with Butch and Sheamus, but they're basically faces. They get a better reaction than a booing reaction. Sheamus and Holland were just in there with Pretty Deadly earlier. Pretty Deadly is heels, obviously, so that's what I mean. Sheamus, Butch, Holland, they're looked at more as faces. They are faces by now. It was one of those weird transitions into such. I don't even know, man. That just made BC think. Like, if you look at these 8 names, that doesn't even make sense. So by WWE's logic, they're just throwing individuals into these matches. Moving on. Escobar pins Grayson Waller via frog splash. Okay. Again, you say that, well, there you go, BC. He was in it, but no harm, no foul because he lost. He still was in the match. It's beyond him. It's about the U.S. title at this point. And they do this for all the titles. People going for the title that you have to scratch your head and go, how is this person even in contention for a title? That doesn't make sense. They shouldn't be. And too many fans are just willing to, I'm okay with it. But no, you wouldn't watch your favorite television show with so many plot holes, not plot twists. Those can be fun. But so many plot holes, man, that you just kind of like, well, this no longer makes sense, man. I can't get behind this because you already derailed it off the tracks earlier with what you did with this character or this situation. So that's why it's actually a bigger deal, man. But Grayson Waller loses again. So they're going a weird way with Grayson Waller. We're just going to have him lose all his matches, and then when we really give him the rocket and he starts winning all his matches, right, people can't complain. Or they'll see that he overcame struggle and adversity. That's what you're hearing in 2023 from wrestling fans. It's very weird. 3 decades plus watching professional wrestling, I've never heard that these individuals need struggle and adversity. All of a sudden, around the time when Cody was going for the title, you started hearing he cannot win the title. Struggle and adversity. Ripping your pec off of the bone. That cannot be enough struggle and adversity, BC. He needs to be beat up by Brock Lesnar for 3 months. So they're going weird with Grayson Waller, man. Very odd. And already seems beyond like just another dude on the roster. Now, the big talking point for BC here is that Austin Theory was on commentary. You would not know that because he barely said anything. Austin Theory added nothing. Nothing, guys. And that's sad because I do like Austin Theory. I want this dude to be something very special in the business. But every time he gets a chance, he does not. This is really hard to say because it's so truthful. But he does not hit it out of the park. He just doesn't. He was on commentary, and I was actually rooting for him, guys. Because I would just think of that moment right there. Like, that is going to do so much more for Austin Theory than being in the ring wrestling right now. And I was like, I hope he knows this. Like, just start saying some fun shit. Like, make people remember. Do some antics out that just make people remember that you were on commentary for that match. Sell yourself. Be original. Like, there was so much he could have done on commentary. I was rooting for him to the point where I was actually, like, saying out loud things for him to say that would be funny and intriguing and get people to go, oh, damn, Theory is on fire, bro. Like, that's how much I was rooting for Austin Theory. And you ain't got to believe me if you don't want, if you're a new subscriber or just new to the channel. Maybe you haven't even subscribed yet. That's totally cool. And you're like, I don't know about this dude's take. No, go back and watch the match. Listen to Austin Theory's commentary, guys. And you will know, man, that could have been something special. It's those moments you can't let slip by. And he just feels like he's in another planet, man. The camera's on him, and it looks like he's watching the match, but he's really thinking about having pizza and a coffee on planet Mars in a scuba outfit. Don't ask. But that's what it seems like, the lights are on, nobody's home situation. I'm like, dude, the camera's on you. You got a microphone on commentary for the next 10 minutes of this match. That is magic you've just been given. And he just let it slip by again. And these are the reasons why it doesn't connect. We do not connect with Theory at large. These are the reasons that people like Jonathan Cena, and this was just a few months ago, I think going into Mania, Jonathan Cena said, they do not connect with you because you don't have it. That's it. It's sad to say that, man, because we do have... man, I think the problem is too many people looked at him and they just saw John Cena or the next John Cena. And most likely that's exactly what Vinnie Kennedy McMahon saw. The next John Cena instead of being the first Austin Theory. And the problem is, I truly believe Theory doesn't even know who Theory is. Unreal, man. He had a prime opportunity. The only other takeaway from this match other than Grayson... So those are the three big takeaways. Grayson Waller gets pinned. Escobar is going to go to take on the next... Whoever wins the next 4 participants Fatal 4-Way next week. On FS1, by the way. Santos Escobar with the big W. Grayson Waller gets defeated, gets pinned. Theory does nothing with his commentary... role, what's the word I want? His big chance to show everybody that he's got that gift to gab. He does nothing with it. And the third takeaway is during the match, Karrion Kross took out Gallows and Anderson backstage to the point where Styles was about to win the match, saw it up on the Tron, and took off to go to try to get to Karrion Kross, save his friends. So, interesting too, after commercial break, when we came back and AJ Styles is trying to help out Gallows and Anderson, they're all shook up, holding their heads. Mia Yim as well was holding her head and looked like she got roughed up. So are you telling me that, did Scarlett Bordeaux take out Mia? Because when we saw Karrion taking out Gallows and Anderson, Scarlett was just laying in the back on one of those production boxes. And she was just laying there, It looked like a cool graphic. But we didn't see her taking out Mia. That would have been better. And that would have sold that story a little bit. Told and sold that story a little bit better. So just an observation BC saw there. So guys, basically what we're doing now is we're going to next week's Fatal 4-Way. Not on Fox, because we cannot highlight LA Knight on Fox. No, you have to see this on cable television, which is going to lose a bunch of viewers. Now, you can say I'm nitpicking, but guys, you got to think about this, man. It would have been cool if LA Knight had his... Did you hear that crowd last night for LA Knight, by the way? Did you hear that? Now, imagine if he was winning his Fatal 4-Way last night and punching his ticket to SummerSlam, or at least to 2 weeks for his chance at SummerSlam. But that would have been huge, and that would have been in a Fox crowd for the most eyeballs to see. But instead, they hold it off for cable. FS1, you're going to lose a bunch of viewership, man. At least, I'm being generous, guys. They're going to lose 500,000 next week on FS1. 500,000. They've been doing basically 2.5s. I'm saying right now, if they clinch 2, they should thank their lucky stars, run like they just robbed the bank, don't look back. They're going to lose 500,000 up front. These are eyeballs that could be seeing this great ascent by LA Knight. That's what bothers me. But at least they had him out there. There was a moment where I saw 20-something minutes left in the program, and I said, wow, they're keeping LA Knight off of television again. At this point, a big FU to the fans, obviously. But then they started doing these backstage segments. I said, okay, maybe they're at least going to have LA Knight in a backstage pre-tape, right? At this point, we didn't even know if he was going to be in the Fatal 4-Way next week. WWE did a great job just trolling out, man. They let this thing drag out to the very end. Rey Mysterio in a backstage pre-tape talking about how he's going to win next week in this Fatal 4-Way. Then it cuts to a backstage pre-tape of Cameron Grimes, who we haven't seen in a while. Cameron Grimes is doing a backstage pre-tape. Now we know there's only 2 people left. We just saw 4 people wrestle. None of them were LA Knight. We just saw Rey Mysterio and Cameron Grimes talk about what they're going to do next week and their Fatal 4-Way. There's only 2 spots left. We have no mention of LA Knight, and here pops up Sheamus as the 3rd participant next week. And I'm like, oh, no. We only have 1 spot left, and these are some big names, dude. They could have Cameron go in there. He's a face. They could have Mysterio go to SummerSlam, go for the title, have Theory beat him. They could have Sheamus. Sheamus was not happy about being, being left off of SummerSlam, the UK show that they just did, Money in the Bank. He was shocked that they actually kept him off that card. So this could be like a little bit of a consolation prize. I start thinking all these things, like they could actually give these to names like when the match was going on, AJ Styles. This could be a big push for Butch, possibly. So this is what I was like, come on, man. We get to Sheamus. There's only 1 name left. And I'm like, this backstage pre-tape better be LA Knight. We got something a hell of a lot better. All of a sudden, now these were 3 straight backstage pre-tapes, one after the other. Then we cut to the arena, and we hear LA Knight. There it goes. The music hits. The arena theme is in effect. LA Knight comes through that curtain. For the live audience, man, crowd pops. Biggest pop of the night easily. Right there with the Jey Uso taking out Paul and Solo. Those were the 2 biggest pops of the night. I say LA Knight even took it. Massive LA Knight chant. Michael Cole just shut up. That was really cool. I think Cole has been reading the temperature of the room, and Michael Cole just shut up and let the crowd do their thing. LA Knight, let me talk to ya, is what LA says. He says, lately everybody is talking about LA Knight for those clicks and those views. I love it, man. No question, man. We are going to help get you to the top of that WWE mountain, man. In the process, if people want to click and view, cool. But we're absolutely, man, gonna say the name LA Knight. We're all gonna say it, man. And we're gonna say it loudly, and we're gonna tell this company that this is the dude, this is the time. So he says that. He says, you can call me the megastar, you can call me the GOAT, but you will soon be calling me the champ, with everybody saying the name LA Knight. Yeah, the crowd pops, man. It was magnificent. This dude, now I've been on this channel, you guys know, I've been pretty vocal about how they've been not booking LA Knight, basically. Leaving him off pay-per-views, leaving him off Madison Square Garden SmackDown last week, putting him in a dark segment. Because it's not just booking him to overcome struggle and adversity, right? It's not just, BC, it's going to make him more popular because fans are going to demand it more. No, it's the IWC, yes. But by putting him on TV, you're letting everybody see how hot this dude is right now. By leaving him off TV, you're not giving the other fans outside of the IWC, you're not giving them a chance to see this dude that a lot of us are propelling to the top. That's what I mean about sabotaging him. You're literally not just cooling him off, you're shutting him down. So I've been very vocal about that, and it's just, man, it's cool to see that this company finally listened. You know, they do from time to time listen. They know when they extremely screw up. They know. It's just they don't do it often. You know, they're too stubborn in their own ways. But, you know, to get LA Knight last night, is it a consolation prize? Should he have a briefcase and going for the world title, or at least setting up a scenario and for the next calendar year you really catapult him? I say yes. But listen, a U.S. championship, that's a pretty damn good consolation. If LA Knight, let's just put it this way, if LA Knight is walking out of Detroit at SummerSlam with gold, man, could you imagine the response from the crowd? That pop. Man, Detroit would be lit, amplified status. LA Knight will be well on his way to the mountaintop. There's some people that obviously, BC, stop with the LA Knight stuff, man. He's a dud. They're not going to put the rocket on him. He's 40-something years old, 40, 41, whatever it is. Past his prime. It's done. And I said, no, I'd rather not shut the fuck up, and I'm going to just voice out even more now because I feel LA Knight absolutely deserves his chance, his shot at it. And the Amplified unit came together and unanimously said, yup, we agree, BC, let's rock this dude. And the wrestling community came together. It was really cool. You get these moments with the wrestling community. We all come together and we say, we're all going to be in agreement, in unison here. It's time you got to do something with this dude. The New York Post, New York Times, Sports Illustrated, there was articles, guys, reputable articles, asking what is WWE doing with this dude? It's time to put that, if not the rocket, I mean at least like put some spark plugs on the guy or something. add dual exhaust or something to LA Knight. But you got to do something with him. The wrestling world came together. And honestly, guys, it's podcasts like this. And it's thanks to you guys, man, for just understanding that when we go on the air, it's not fluff, right? We're trying to help the wrestling world. This isn't just, we're not putting up content that's just weird and baffling and it's stupid and it has no purpose. What are you talking about, PC? No, we have purpose, man. And because we all came together as a wrestling community, LA Knight, it looks like anyway, is going to be at SummerSlam in a title match. How cool is that, man? We did that, dude. We did that. Just like we helped out Stone Cold. And, we'd never get The Rock if it wasn't for how we came together and said, this Maivia thing is not you, Dwayne. The Yes movement at WrestleMania 30 culminating with Bryan hoisting up that championship. Guys, that never would have happened if we didn't come together and really create that Yes movement, made it what it was. Every once in a while, we do come together and we do what's best for the business, man. We make a change that's needed that the company just refuses to do. That's what's cool. I appreciate my Amplified unit. I appreciate the wrestling world, man, coming together and really hoisting up LA Knight at a time where this dude needed good booking. Or at least booking in general. And it looks like they heard us, but, you can never be too sure. Knowing this company, you could have next week's Fatal 4-Way go off with LA Knight not even going to SummerSlam for the title. Honestly. Could you imagine if they had, I like Cameron Grimes, but you've been gone. You came, you left for a month, and then you came back, and now you're already in a title picture, just like Grayson Waller. How does that work? And this is coming from a massive Cameron Grimes supporter. You guys know that. Rey Mysterio, come on, are we really doing that again with Theory? We've seen that 100 times on Monday Night Raw. And then it just comes down to really Sheamus. And sorry, not sorry, man. Sheamus, as much as we like the dude, man, I don't know how many people need to see another Sheamus Austin Theory match. And then you got to get past Escobar. Or LA Knight at SummerSlam in a title match. Which one excites you more and captivates you? I'm just going to leave it with that question, man. Because that's all you got to ask yourself, honestly. And then we went into Asuka and Bianca Belair. Women's Championship title on the line. Asuka and Belair. This was muddied from the jump. Backstage, stick with me because this actually happened. Backstage, Bayley and Io told Adam Pearce they're not leaving or they're going to be there for the title match, something like that. Charlotte Flair, who said she was leaving earlier in the night, came back after she heard that. She told Adam Pearce, on second thought, I'm not leaving. And Adam Pearce is like, damn, okay. And then, guys, before we go to a commercial break in this match, this main event, Asuka versus Belair, you see Bayley, Io, and Charlotte with tickets. They all have a ticket for supposedly the front row somehow. They all have tickets to sit down as part of the crowd and watch the match. But you already told Pearce you They weren't banned from ringside, correct? I don't believe, anyway. I don't think they were banned from ringside. Anybody can come down. Paul Heyman had a visitor's pass. He wasn't even on the same brand. He just, a couple months ago after the draft, he had a visitor's pass, and he was able to go right through the curtain. I don't understand why they would need tickets, but they don't really think these things through. It's a different visual, BC. Let's just accept it. Well, it is a different visual, that's for sure. I just want it to make sense. Anyway, the match ends with Charlotte Flair booting Belair, I believe, because there was a clusterfuck where Bayley's in there, Io's in there, Asuka's in there. Everybody's beating each other up. Charlotte boots Belair, I believe. So I think Belair won from DQ, right? I don't think Asuka got hit. Did Asuka get hit and maybe Belair win by DQ? Listen, the point is one of them won by DQ, so it's a nonsensical schmaz type finish anyway. Nobody's going to remember this. BC already forgot, so and it wasn't valid enough to put in the notes. So that's just what that's where we were at, and then they tried to. Io tried to cash in on Asuka, but Asuka's able to like spit out the mist and get in retreat mode. So she's smiling to take us off the air. She's smiling because she aborted the cash-in mission, and then you have Io and Bayley pissed off because they failed the cash-in mission, and then Charlie and Belair are like, "What the heck, man?" with each other, and we go off the air. So. Oof, I want to say because they gave Asuka the top of the show and the end of the show, the two biggest parts of a show, starting it off and ending the show, hopefully with a good cliffhanger, if done properly. And I want to say, hey, it's something to do with Asuka, so I'm going to fully support it even if I didn't like it. But the truth is, it really has nothing to do with Asuka. BC, she was in the main event, dude. No, this has nothing to do with Asuka. She's literally, it is clear, she's the third fiddle. And if you add Io and Bayley, maybe you put them as the third and fourth, and maybe you put Asuka as the fifth fiddle. The top of the show and the end of the show, even though she was literally wrestling in the main event, has nothing to do with Asuka. It is clear. This is the Charlie Flair agenda. It's all about Charlie's 15th, 16th reign and beyond. That's what this is. And I don't know what it does for Belair. I want to say it's propelling her simultaneously, but it's clear that she's just overshadowed. If anybody connected with Charlie is going to be overshadowed by Charlie. There's no other way to say that. So, yeah, man. Not thrilled with the start and the end of the show. Highlights for me, obviously, Jason Uso, Paul Heyman, and Solo Sikoa. I like that. Got a little clustery and a little bit of a filler toward the end. But still the best story that is being told in all of WWE and all of wrestling for that matter. So that was good. I also thoroughly enjoyed LA Knight going out there, telling the world this is what's going to happen. And now it has to, man. He told everybody he's going to win Money in the Bank, and he totally fucking failed. And then he wasn't even on Madison Square Garden's SmackDown the Friday after. In fact, the night after Money in the Bank, he was losing to Rey Mysterio at a house show. A far cry from doing what you said you were going to do and winning Money in the Bank. So now he's telling the world he's going to cash his ticket to SummerSlam and win that title. Man, right? You wouldn't have Stone Cold lose to Owen Hart and not get that title. You wouldn't make that call. You can't have LA Knight go into SummerSlam and not win the title. First, beggars can't be choosers. First of all, right? Let's not count the chickens before they hatched. Let's have our ducks in a row. Let's make sure that LA Knight is even going to SummerSlam, right? Then we can start talking about that title match. Guys, you're the very best. I know I was just out in the world and a lot of business to take care of. So this was straight podcast audio format only. But you guys are the very best, man. A lot more content coming up next week, of course. Channel members, appreciate the membership. As always, you guys are the top of the top. And BC has the utmost respect for my entire amplified unit, just for smashing that up and smashing that subscription and notification bell, man. You guys, man, I'm holding up the coffee right now. I give you a mega amplified salute. Until next time, and there will be a next time. Top guy, I'm out. BC saying check you.